Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to HIMediaTV. I am your host, Evan from HIMediaTV, and today I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, about my first hour with Borderlands 4. Now, there have been many complaints online about the state of the game in terms of crashing. I have a relatively beefy machine with I believe a 250 Ti, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And a decent amount of like VRAM. So it remains to be seen. But I will admit that the game was choppy. It does not have the fluidity of Borderlands 3. Now, granted, I did not download the driver's update for it from NVIDIA, so this part, take with a grain of salt. I'll post an update on Blue Sky Twitter and Threads updating my summation of that. But I digress. Let's take a look at the merits of the game. So, I'm not going to talk about story. I want to talk about gameplay because, say what you will about the story of Borderlands 3, the actual gunplay, gameplay, and innovations that they did therein with Borderlands 3 were sublime. They were wonderful. And they basically seem to have taken everything that was great about the gameplay itself of Borderlands 3 and expounded upon that. One of the things that was really freeing in Borderlands 3 compared to 2 in the pre-sequel before it was the fact that maps felt in 2 in pre-sequel, felt very rigid. Even with the newfound traversal methods that came with the pre-sequel, with the 0G and the boosting and all that stuff, it very much felt like there was not a bunch of movement. You couldn't really jump over things that were felt like chest high, and you had to maneuver around them. The movement could be considered a little wonky, at least by today's standards. Certainly by the standards of the time. Borderlands, the pre-sequel, compared to something like Destiny, was very much old hat to a degree. Borderlands 3 updated that to a modern era, better late than never. In Borderlands 4, they take the traversal that you like from Borderlands 3, and they add at least as far as I've seen, a handful of other options. The first thing you get access to in the tutorial is you get, at least until you open and get access to the open world. It's an open world game, by the way, which I don't have an opinion on yet. From what I've experienced, it's not bad. It's relatively open, and with the traversal methods of a grappling hook that not only will allow you to, grapple up at points of interest, climb up, and things of that nature, it also allows you to grab explosive, pods and gas tanks, and then throw them at people as a thing you can do in the middle of combat, which is feels very fun and interesting. Other modes of traversals are, yes, they have ladders and stuff, but another thing they have are these grates that you can climb up, a la, Doom Eternal, Doom the Dark Ages, etc. Lastly, at least as far as I've gotten so far, is they've added a glider. This allows you to sort of fly over bigger gaps and just close gaps. It opens up traversal immensely. And the world reflects this. There is a level of verticality, Borderlands 3 felt like a fairly vertical game compared to its predecessors in the series, but this takes it to a whole new level. And all of these new traversal mechanics fit very well into the gunplay, which is probably the most important thing in a Borderlands game aside from the humor, which I'll touch on more when I play more of the game and sort of see. I so far the humor and the bits, at least when I meet Claptrap, is less cringe than 3 was. It feels like they kind of, Borderlands 3 has always had themes of anti-authoritarianism, and it seems like they've kind of hit that stride here. The other thing I want to note is that this game takes place on a different planet, one we've never heard of before, one that we have no concept of. And like everything from the gun manufacturers to, the baddies to, there's no skags, there's no racks, there's no bar kids. It's all new animals, new aliens, and this feels relatively fresh. I've got no complaints from it on that front. Like I said, gunplay is very good. It's very fluid, not unsimilar to how 3 was, and the additions that they've made it have just, in my personal opinion, enhanced what was already a pretty damn good formula. After you get 1 level up, you get access to not 1, not 2, but 3 separate potential skills, similar to 3. And it's just, you get access to it at level 2. There could be a conversation that could be had about the efficacy of that, about how, not having access to your character skill between levels like 1 and 5, or in the case of 2, or in 1, or 1 and 3 in the case of the pre-sequel, kind of forces you to engage with the mechanics baseline and, helps you, get good rather. But I think that a lot of the fun with Borderlands comes with the kooky wackiness that comes with your player skills. I played Siren, of course, because while, Nisha will always be my heart and Krieg will always be my soul, the fact of the matter is that I played Siren in 1, I played Siren in 3, and the Siren's pretty fucking good in 4 as well. She has this, she's a witch. She's a siren witchy, summoner, like demon stuff. It's cool. It's all like thematic. And, I can cast Eldritch Blasts while shooting with my offhand. It's pretty nice, I gotta say. All in all, I have been genuinely enjoying, the new Borderlands so far. The NVIDIA driver update is downloading on my computer as we speak. I'm planning on putting some serious time into it this weekend. Gonna probably see how demanding it is on my system, and if it's not too demanding, don't be surprised if I end up streaming it all of Saturday, all of Sunday. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm a Borderlands dick rider, even though we fucking hate Randy Pitchford in his household. I'd say, regardless, wait on it. The economy's in a rough spot. Borderlands 4 is a $70 game at base, and to get access to like the season pass and all the future DLC, you have to pay $130. Fuck that noise. So, definitely go watch people stream it if it looks like the type of shooter, especially for all the Destiny fans who are trying to have their looter shooter like hole filled in their heart that Destiny Rising is not necessarily filling. It's something to consider, but I think this is a wait and see game for most people, just because Borderlands 3 burned a lot of people. And the gameplay and the gunplay is genuinely enjoyable. PC users, though, it does have some fairly beefy minimum requirements, so that is something to bear in mind. All in all, I'm very happy with it. Thank y'all for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, you might like some of our own. You can find all of our podcasts at himedia.gg/podcast or wherever you get your pods. Lastly, if you have the financial ability to swing it, and you found a genuine value out of this content, please consider going to himedia.gg/perks and consider donating $3 a month. Keeps the shows going, and it means a lot. Thank y'all so much for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day.